Hey there guys, Matt here from Peppermint Gum Gardening. I decided to put a little video together of me at a client's place helping get their property ready for sale. They had a lot of tired areas, including the driveway and walkways around the house. And being a bit of a tractor nerd, I wanted to make a video of me using the John Deere 1025R. It's the smallest tractor that John Deere make in their lineup, and is also a tractor that is just super maneuverable and can fit on my 12-foot trailer. So when it comes to choices for what I wanted to purchase for this type of work, I'm not doing any heavy earthworks, but I knew I was going to do a lot of gardening, I was going to do a lot of lighter sort of landscaping, and I felt that this was the best tractor choice for me. The reason I purchased this particular model over any of the other subcompacts was really that you can take off the mower deck. Primarily I needed it at home to mow because I've got 5 acres, but I also wanted it to do this sort of work, and if you can't take the mower deck off really easily, then it's really easy to damage the mower deck and it makes the whole tractor really pointless as anything other than a mower. So you've seen me trying to carefully bucket out as much as I can of this road base that we're putting over granitic sand, and I was finding it quite difficult to keep the tractor steady. It's only got little wheels, and if you're not super smooth in dumping out the buckets of material, it can get really bumpy and shocky up there. So here I've grabbed the smudge bar and I'm very carefully trying to smooth out this road base so as not to gouge out large sections of the underlying granitic sand. So having used this tractor now for quite some time, I've got about 350 hours on it. One of the limiting factors I've noticed is really the size of the bucket, which is really determined by the size of the tractor. It can only lift so much and you really do need a counterbalance on the back. So if you have to move material large distances from where it has been dumped to where it has been needed, this is most definitely not the tractor for you. It takes far too long to move all that sort of material. But if it's nice and close by, okay, it can move 10 meters of material really quite quickly. So you might not be able to tell from the video, but it's actually relatively steep coming up and down here. Too steep for the smudge bar, at least anyways. So it's been said before that you can undo a lot of good work really quickly with a smudge bar. So in this instance, it's safer just to use the soil spreader to even things out a little bit. This is granitic sand and it rained overnight. It's pretty sludgy. Last thing I want to do is gouge out with the smudge bar some of this underlying granitic sand and have it come to the surface. Safest to do it by hand. Whew. It's a bit of work by the hand. So there's just this bit in front of the camera that you can see, then we'll change angles and get the rest of it done off to the side. I am constantly amazed at the amount of work that this little tractor can do. My friend ribs me sometimes because he's got a big 165 horsepower New Holland machine and he calls this the Deere John instead of the John Deere. But for the type of work that I do, it has done an enormous amount of service in its 350 hours, and I'm always super impressed. Yeah, I lust after something bigger, but I think that I would only get something in addition to this because it is just so handy and useful. So while Ronnie's working up there, let's have a little bit of a talk and see what we've done down here. So most of the pathways were this granitic sand. It had a lot of grass growing through it, so we had to scrape off the top of that. That's all been compacted. We just need to do a little bit of a clean up just to get around the edges and make it look a little bit neater. Let's look back at this little roadway here. So this used to be granitic sand down here as well. And you find with granitic sand that with this slope, as the rain comes down, it makes little washouts in the gully, and it doesn't end up giving a really good look on any sort of sloping surface. So we've actually just put down some road base here just to sort of solidify it. The client's about to sell this place. We've done all the walkways. We haven't tamped that one down yet because the plate compactor won't fit in there, but that's coming up shortly. And this will end up being a great looking change. I'll insert a photo so you can see what it looked like beforehand. A great looking positive change that'll really clean up the front look of this property. So let's go up and have a look at what we have to do up the top there. So this is, or was, a 10 metre pile of road base, 20C4 it's also called. I don't know what it's called overseas. And some people would say you can't do a lot of work with a little John Deere 1 Series tractor, but you know, you won't do civil works, but for little cleanups and property maintenance and light commercial work, I can't fault it. Anyway, so about 4 meters has gone down the front of the property. Now with the rest of this road base, I'm cleaning up these sections around here. You can see a bit of grass that's come through. I sprayed that last week. In a perfect world, I'd let that die first, but anyway, time pressures. So we're gonna spread that out now, use the smudge bar, which is on the other side of the tractor there, and then we'll sort of top dress it with the land plane that's on the back there. Luckily for me and the client, because it makes it cheaper, the excavation company was able to run this out all the way up to the top of the driveway, which has saved a huge amount of time and effort and therefore money for the client. Anyway, let's have a quick check in on Ronnie and then I'll jump back on the tractor. So while Ronnie's working away, compacting just the lower part of the drive, I'm just going to jump on the tractor. We now know how much road base that we have left, and I'm going to put a relatively thin layer. This is all compact, but it's really just top dressing. A relatively thin layer of road base all over this area that we've got here. We're just going to move it around with the smudge bar, and then Ron will compact it, and then we'll use the land plane just to finish everything off and give the road just a little bit of an apex in the center so the water runs off to the side. So, here we go. So the smudge bar that I'm using is made by Burder Industries. It's an Australian company, manufacturing company, and you require the 4-in-1 buckets to be able to grab onto the smudge bar. It pushes really well, and it pushes with the very front part of the smudge bar blades. But when you are pulling material, it actually can drag an enormous amount of material really quickly in the backwards direction. Just takes a really light touch, and less is more with the smudge bar. The more heavy-handed you are, the more you can stuff things up. So light use is best. This is also my second time ever using the land plane, which is so good for top dressing. And here you go. You see it just finishing off that surface really quite nicely. It doesn't move a lot of material, but it does move some, and it finishes it really, really nicely. It does leave some little drag marks in the center of the driveway there. You can see a couple of them just there, which you do need to finish off by hand, but it is such a useful tool for finishing off driveways. I absolutely love it. There's no job that is without manual labor, and this is most definitely the manual labor portion of this particular job.
And here we are with the finished result. So we've used 20 meters of rock. That includes all the way up the driveway there and down in front of the house here. Much cleaner look than before. It's just a cleanup. It's not a, it's not a full driveway rebuild. So we're just adding a thin layer over to the top, getting this house ready for sale. We've also installed granitic sand all along the pathways throughout the house. And I think this client is going to be exceptionally happy. Firstly, with the cost, and secondly, with the way that it looks. It's taken about, let's say, a little bit over a day, maybe a day and a half's worth of labour to get all of this done. And the amount of rock that we've used is about 2,000 Australian pesos. So you can work that out from my website.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you're just a tractor lover like me that just wanted to see the 1025R do some work, or if you're in the Central Highlands of Victoria and you need some gardening and or landscaping done, please feel free to hit me up on peppermintgumgardening.com. Thanks so much, guys. See you again.